Welcome back. I'm Lou Wieland. We're sitting here with Derek Van Dam, who is the branch manager of Movement Mortgage in the West Midtown office, west side of Midtown office, in a really cool new office over there that's state of the art. And Derek graduated from Stockton University with a BA in finance, and so moved down to Atlanta right after graduation, and you've been here for ever since 15 years, right?
No, 21 years.
21
15 years in the mortgage business, 21 years here in total.
Okay, so, but Derek, I know that we want to talk a little bit. We want to get to really know you better and your company, and we were talking before the break about the procedure and how long it takes to get approved. And
sure.
If you wouldn't mind just finishing that, and then we'll segue back to other suggestions you might have for home buyers.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things I wanted to touch on was Movement Mortgage's 671 process. And let me explain what those numbers are in reference to. The 6 is for our goal to underwrite every file in a 6-hour turn time. That is very fast in comparison to our peers in the industry. There are many mortgage companies that sometimes can take a week or longer to underwrite a file initially. So to do something in 6 hours, 6 business hours to be more accurate, is pretty impressive. And part of how we're able to do that is because our company overstaffs in the underwriting department, which is also what allows us to be able to do the upfront underwrites that we do and issue the commitment letter. So 6 hours is a goal, and for most of the year, even during the busy months, we stay very, very close to that. And we're proud of that. That's important to be able to get an answer quickly because we need to be decisive sometimes. Clients are often looking for homes. They want to make an offer on one. We want to be able to let them know right away that the underwriting department's checked everything out and that it looks okay. Now, the second number, which is 7, that stands for 7 days. We have 7 days in which to get all of our conditions into the file. And people internally are compensated accordingly on being able to hit that particular number. And I would say it's over 70% of the time, but oftentimes I've seen numbers that bordered on 80% of the time that we accomplish that task. When the underwriting department comes back, they come back with things called conditions. We get a conditional approval, which states that the underwriter is comfortable with the file, but they have certain conditions that they want to be met in order to give a final approval. Those conditions sometimes are needed from the borrower. Sometimes they're needed from the title company. Sometimes they're needed from the insurance agent. Sometimes they're needed from the appraiser. And our staff works on getting all of those items cleared. And like I said, in excess of 70% of the time, we are hitting that number very soundly, which, of course, speaks volumes to the speed as well. That is another process that within other companies can often take 2 to 3 weeks. The third number, which is the 1, is for our time that we have in the closing department to get the file out. We have 24 business hours from the point in which we receive the final approval until we get the closing documents out to the closing agent to administer the closing. And that's honestly a long period of time. I have a number of files where I, on occasion, need to get that quicker than that, and I've had them get them out as quickly as an hour. So the 1 is really on the long end of the spectrum. If we do have a situation where it is a rush and we need to get somebody done very quickly, they often can accommodate that. So that whole 671 process, which is a big point for our company, one of the owners, Toby Harris, is the one that brought that in to the organization and really has pushed that, is vitally important for our overall turn times. And part of why we have a good reputation in the industry, because people need to know that we can execute and be able to execute quickly. And I'm very often calling back agents that I work with as well as our clients to let them know the good news that we have received a clear to close, sometimes a week or 2 earlier than the contract date. And it's always the best news that I love to deliver, because if they would like to close early, we'd be happy to accommodate them. Obviously, the buyer and seller need to be on board with that. But if everybody is, we'd love to get them to the closing table early. But even if we can't, even if the seller has to wait for their other home to be ready before they can move out, it's still nice to know that everything is done and the pressure is off, and then at this point we're going to close and be well ready to close much in advance of closing.
And by the way, do most of your closings occur in your office or in the real estate office? Or?
No, they usually close in the closing attorney's office, depending on who it was that was listed on the purchase contract. We don't normally have very much involvement in that part of it. We pretty much will use anyone that's listed as long as they're not on any kind of disapproved list. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't even think we have any in Georgia at this time that are not approved. So, and I also try to attend closings myself. It's a big deal for me. I like to try to be there, and sometimes it's the first time I get to meet my clients face-to-face. I'm often doing so much work via phone, fax, and email that it's nice to, after a period of time of working with the client, to be able to put the name with the face and come out and congratulate them. And I'm fortunate that I deal with a lot of first-time home buyers, and that's a very exciting process to see them get their first set of keys handed across the table. So I'll take pictures for them and give it to them so they can post it on Facebook and the like. And it's an exciting moment, and I like being part of it. It's one of the things that I find really rewarding about this business.
That's great. Yeah. Now, one thing as a realtor, I'm always in the situation of showing property and wondering if they can get an approval, if they're
Sure.
credit. And I always tell people to shop around and find a mortgage company that they like and they enjoy doing business with and are reliable. And what kind of suggestions do you have to a home buyer, not only just a first-time home buyer or somebody other person? Don't you try to tell them to recommend that they get approval before they even start looking?
Absolutely. We are the first stage in the process, whether it's us or another mortgage company or bank. It's very important for them to know that they can qualify and to how much up to they can qualify and what the payments will be on that so that they can accordingly look at the right properties. I'm very respectful of the time of both my clients and the agents who referred those clients. I don't like them to waste time. And the quickest way that you can do that is to not give all the right information up front to them to be able to make a good decision. If they end up looking for properties that end up being $300 or $400 more a month than they're comfortable spending, then I need to make sure that they knew that up front, because they're wasting their time looking at the properties and the agent is wasting their time showing them those properties. So because I'm so sensitive to that is why I go to the level of detail I do on the front end of the loan. Again, we do standard pre-qualifications where we can just take an application. Oftentimes we'll do that online where they complete the application online, and just based off that information, I can issue a pre-qualification. But I really do prefer to go an extra step, receive all of their documents up front, submit the file to our underwriting department, have them thoroughly vet the file. And again, on only a 6-hour turn time, it's not like that takes forever. And then be able to issue a commitment letter. Now, what that does is that gives peace of mind to everybody in the process. It gives peace of mind to the customer to know that they've been thoroughly checked out. It gives peace of mind to you to know that if you're taking them out to see these properties, that they have been thoroughly checked out. But where it really helps them is with the seller of those properties. Because if they're in a competitive bidding situation on a property, and you know well enough that that's very normal nowadays.
Right now,
it's a big seller's market, particularly here in Metro Atlanta.
Yep.
And as a result of it, they could be up against 2, 3, 4 other offers. Well, if they're sitting there with a commitment letter in hand, and every one of the other ones has got pre-qual letter, pre-qual letter, pre-qual letter, it gives our client a competitive advantage and really allows them to be the one to hopefully capture that business.
Right, even if the price is the same, even if the offer is the
exactly
same.
Right. It makes them stand out.
You have a very significant competitive advantage.
Sure.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We have a lot more to cover.